Well. You're listening to Gloves Off with Professor Buitrón. Alright then, I may say words on point, straightforward. No jibber jabber, everybody forward. Issues, facts and solution. Get it at Gloves Off with Professor Buitrón. Alright, what other thing is a revolution? Get it on point with Professor Buitrón. Gloves Off, no nonsense issues, politics, community. A better men follow reader. Gloves Off, a revolutionary show with everything that you need to know. With Professor Buitrón. Watch ya!
We're back at you in Gloves On, Professor Buitrón, and I'm here with a beautiful family that's gotten together with parent 50-50 parenting. How are we doing Eric? We doing good?
Yep.
Doing great.
You're good.
Great.
Awesome. Gloves Off, I'm Professor Buitrón, and right now I'm going to introduce one of the pillars of Texas, Senator Flores. How are we doing, Senator? You doing good today?
Doing very well, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to visit today.
Oh, well, thank you, number one, for signing your name on the dotted line. You just signed it again, right? Because you're into a re-election campaign. How's that coming along?
Yeah, it's we're up for re-election. You know, I won this election in a special 2 years ago after my predecessor went to the federal penitentiary, and we won it by 7 points, and got a chance to serve in the '86 session. And but since it's filling an unexpired term, I'm up again in about 50 days in November election as the Republican candidate and the incumbent going into this election, and things are looking pretty good.
Absolutely. You are from Laredo, and we're really proud of you and proud of having somebody looking after Texas and Texas. But let's base what started you off into the direction of going into the center politics, really?
Well, you know, I was involved with my dad, Margarito Flores, and rest in peace. And you know, the early campaigns with Cruz Cabello when he ran as an independent and won county commissioner. Then, of course, with Aldo Tatangelo when he became mayor, my father was also his campaign manager. So early on, we got a taste of politics, and that you don't have to stand by and take it. That you can, nothing's a done deal, and people need to be reminded that they're not rulers; they're public servants, and that we have the power to put them in and the power to take them out. So don't lay down for it. And so after I did my years of service with the state, I discovered that a lot of the same was happening with the politicians from San Antonio. And so I stepped up and ran against Carlos Oreste in 2016. We weren't successful, but it was very promising. You know, we got 97,600 votes as a newcomer. So that told me that this was possible. So we ran again, and we prevailed against all odds, and it became the first. And I am a Republican. Became the first Republican to represent Senate District 19 in 139 years. It's a civil war, and also became the first Hispanic Republican senator in Texas history. So anything's possible, and so you don't stand by and take it. I don't like political machines. I don't like people who think they're patrons and all that kind of stuff. So the way you fix that is you run, and then you go do a good job. You know, you don't just run and then just say, "Look here, look what I am." No, you got to remember who you are, and you got to remember why you're there. So that's to go do your job. And if everybody just goes and does their job, we'll be all right.
When you went into office, what was the first thing you said? You know what? I work on this. This is what needs help here. And what were the major problems that you saw?
Well, I had experience in Austin as a colonel game warden. I did 4 sessions, so I had experience at the Capitol. I had relationships in the House and the Senate, Democrat and Republican. I know how government works. We ran our campaign based on what I call the pillars. And that is that we didn't go into, the weeds of things. We just talked about what was important to people, and that is things like property taxes, things like public safety, things like roads and infrastructure, education, both public and higher ed. We talk about healthcare. We talk about things that were important to anybody. If you walked into a cafe and asked what's important to you, I didn't go in there and say, tell me about Republican Party Plank 241, because nobody would really care. But if I go in there and ask everybody about what do you think about your latest tax bill, I've got everybody's attention. So our campaign was, there's an article written by Newt Gingrich on our campaign. It's called the Campaign of Big Ideas, which means that when you go out, you talk about things that are important to people and the primary function of government, why you're supposed to be there in the first place. And so that's what we did. Property tax reform was number one issue, and we took care of that as a co-author of Senate Bill 2, which was property tax reform, sponsored or authored by Senator Betancourt. So that one, we passed it. House Bill 3 was the other one, which had to do with transformational work and financing of public schools. All these things have been 30 to 40 years of doing nothing. So finally, I was fortunate to be in my first session to be part of a session that took care of two big items: property tax reform and funding of public schools. Very big deal.
Absolutely, absolutely. How now with the crisis we're in, with the COVID-19 crisis, a lot of businesses have been hurting, especially small businesses. And it seems that a lot of business owners have been going back into submission, and we need to get back alive and open. Is there going to be any formal help in the near future by Texas towards small businesses that are backbone of our community?
Well, Texas is the 10th largest standalone economy in the world. And we went into this pandemic in a very extremely strong position, which I attribute a lot to Republican governance and of course to the president and his program in Washington, where we put businesses as a priority. Because without businesses, there's no jobs. So it's not the other way around. It's businesses, and especially small businesses. Of course, these are unprecedented times of this type of pandemic, and steps were taken that hopefully, we'll never see in our lifetime again. And some of the things probably don't need to be repeated. But the bottom line is that even because our economy was so strong and because we worked on reducing regulations and supporting small businesses, for example, I'm endorsed and supported by the Small Business Association for my record of supporting business, Texas Association of Business. So they're the backbone of Texas, and we want to make sure that they survive. And if we hadn't been in a strong position going into this COVID pandemic, we would be in a depression right now instead of a recession. So hopefully soon we will get out of this, and we're very optimistic that we will, and we'll get this powerhouse that's Texas back online and remain the 10th largest economy in the world.
New thing would say, if God goes in, I'm like, this is what I need to work on because this really needs to be done.
Things we need to continue to work on, again, is the appraisal districts and when it comes to how they operate. And appraisal districts still need a lot of work. We made it during House Senate Bill 2, we started a committee with the comptroller to be able to provide for recommendations for us for the next session on a uniform method of arriving at appraisals. Because right now, each county does it their own way and each appraiser does it their own way. And there's very little to no oversight, which is not a good thing in any form of government whatsoever. So I look forward to working with my colleagues to see what the results of the study was on recommendations for a uniform method of appraisals, and then moving forward with that, amongst other things, to tighten up appraisal districts. A number of the big items that we have a lot of work to do on is appraisal districts, and to have a uniform method of writing out appraisals. Right now, each county does it their own way, and each appraisal director does it their own way, and the chief appraiser rather. So that we can't have that, and we need to provide more oversight and fairness to the taxpayer, and that's one of the top items aside from the state budget and redistricting, which are probably number one and number two going into the 87th.
Absolutely. There's a talk now about defunding the police, and I'm glad Texas stood up and said we're not going to do that. And you as a lawman, before we have to protect our officers. And how do you feel about everything going there and kind of uniting everyone together as one?
Well, one of the main functions of government is public safety, and so when they tax us, we pay a large portion to ensure that our communities are safe. Nothing can function without a safe community. But at the same time, we want our police to be professional. I was a professional officer for over 27 years, including being the state director of law enforcement. So it's just something that I'm very familiar with. We're not going to stand by and put up with this defunding the police nonsense. We're going to move forward to support our law enforcement and our first responders, and ensure that local governments and county governments and state government do what they can to ensure that we provide for the best professional officers and first responders out there. Don't tolerate those that are not. However, it is our duty and responsibility to provide for public safety, and I will oppose any and all attempts to defund police. Absolutely. It's crazy. There are, just like anything else, policing has layer upon layer of checks and balances, and as long as they're done properly, things will work out. And remember that each one of those officers is somebody's daughter, husband, son. They come from our families. They could be your neighbor. But the one thing that they did that's different from most, other than those that have served in the military, is that they took an oath to defend the Constitution and to uphold the laws of the state and of the United States. And those that don't, we get rid of them. But the vast majority of them do exactly that every day and keep our society safe, where we can be free from oppression of criminality. So that's why it's very important.
What other issues do you think are going to come in the next, say, 2 years here in Texas? What do you see that's going to be important?
Well, that some of the top issues that are of concern to people are health care, is to make, we've expanded health care, women's health. We've also done telemedicine. They're working on the reduction of prices of prescription drugs. The president himself has took executive orders to address the life-saving medicine such as insulin. Those things are important. Accessibility to health care. Secondly is education. Most people are I don't care who you are, education is a top issue, followed by jobs and public safety. All these things, again, are pillars of what make us a great society. And we need to ensure that Texas is able to properly deliver those services within our budget. And so, we're going to go with about a $4.5 billion budget deficit going into the next session. It'll probably be higher than that. But I've seen worse in my time. I remember once we were going into 10 billion in the hole, but we still survived it, and we'll survive this. At the same time, it's always good to make sure that our government is operating, tough and lean, and not fat and lazy.
Absolutely. And we're about 30 days away, no? 40 something away from
early voting. Yeah, we're probably about 40 days away. So everything's full speed ahead. I have 17 counties, including a third of San Antonio. So everything's pretty busy, and going to get busier in the last month, I expect. Bottom line is you have to determine whether you want someone who's going to go do the job or someone who just just says they deserve it because they're of a certain party, but yet do nothing. I think now is not the time for us to, or any time really, to send someone to represent this district who won't get things done. My record is very firm in getting things done. I serve on the Finance Committee, which is one of the most powerful committees in the Senate, which is the budget writing, for example. And five of us have 6 committees total, and including the redistricting committee. So very important that we go back with someone who has a record of getting things done and can work across the aisle, as opposed to someone who just believes that they're entitled to something.
Absolutely, absolutely correct. And now, a very hard time for everybody, and everybody needs to go out there, especially those who can go vote. And I assure you, go out and physically vote. If you can put on a mask, you can wait a line and go out there and vote. And the first thing you need to do is research each candidate and what's done. Because sometimes people do not understand what a person has doing. They're never, some of our public officials that are out there are actually humble. They don't go out there with this is I've been doing all along. They just humble to speak. So people never find that's exactly what they've been doing all the time. And that needs to get type of education needs to be brought out. And I'm glad that you know what you've done because he needs that.
Well, my story is a reminder that you can come from the west side of Laredo, graduate from Martin High School, and still go on to go to college. You can still go on to be a colonel game warden, and you can become a member of the Texas Senate. It's because we live in Texas and the United States that gives you opportunity to achieve. It doesn't make you a number. It doesn't give you make it an even chance for everyone. It gives you the opportunity to excel. And it's up to us individually, and it's in our spirit as Texans to always do the best and expect nothing to be handed out to us. And anything is possible so as we move forward during this COVID and a budget, we're still going to come out. When the smoke clears, Texas is still going to be standing strong and getting stronger. Now is not the time to go backwards or become a socialist state.
Well, sir, wish you the best luck. Godspeed.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
We'll be talking to you soon. Be safe there. Be safe.
God bless you all.
All righty. Until next time.
Good to see Laredo.
Peace.
For 30 years, Buitrón Academy has produced great fighters, peace officers, firemen, and many great citizens of Laredo. We teach various martial arts, savate, kempo, capoeira, each in their own traditions, trajectory, history, and pedagogy. Buitrón Academy is the first school of savate in the United States, the first capoeira movement in Texas, the first Kempo school in Laredo. What will one expect to see at Buitrón Academy? Respect, fellowship, coordination, skill, and self-defense. Buitrón Academy is located at 220 West Hillside Road.
following political paid advertisements do not reflect the political opinions of the program or its associates. Any political campaign or candidate who wishes to purchase advertising can do so. Advertising is open to all on behalf of Gloves Off.
Hello, how are you? My name is Celestino Marina. I'm running for City Council, District 5, and I would like your support. Together, we will win. Thank you.
Laredo College needs a leader, an educator with a vision to move forward for a positive change. This is why, as your candidate, I want accessible education, and most importantly, I want to listen to your concerns as a stakeholder, students, faculty, staff, and taxpayers. It's time for education over politics.
Vote Justin Huntsnusher Casiano for Laredo College Board, place 7.
Hi Laredo, this is Carlos Perez. I'm running for Laredo College Board of Trustees Place 8. You can follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at CG Perez RLC. I look forward to gaining your support this campaign season and earning your vote November 3rd. Thank you.